Republicans, specifically Republicans in Congress, would have you believe that somehow they need to investigate the president of the United States because his son has been getting money from foreign governments for who knows what, right? They want to find a connection between Hunter Biden and the president doing something illicit. Of course, they have no proof of that. It is unlikely they could ever find proof of that, but they want to have symmetry between Trump and Biden. In other words, Trump was impeached. They'd love to be able to say, hey, Biden was impeached too. What's up? It doesn't really matter. But what's interesting is that as they're going after searching for things they have no evidence of, Donald Trump, in effect, was paid by many foreign governments, which is really illegal unless he gets some sort of permission from Congress. He was getting a lot of money. And you know who the major country that gave this guy money was? China. The country that he always tries to tell his supporters, oh, that's because of China, the China virus, all of that. Talk about the classic double talk and looking at his American followers as fools. In other words, hey guys, when he's talking about China, remember, he's making a killing from China. I want you to listen to this. Listen to what Jasmine Crocket had to say. Listen to all the different violations of the emoluments clause that he is going through. Check this out. We'll take it on the other side.
A new report has just been published that shows actual proof of Biden's predecessor making nearly $8 million from foreign governments during his presidency. A brand new 156-page report out today by Democrats on the House Oversight Committee finds at least 20 countries spent money at Trump's hotels and properties, including Trump Tower in New York and his hotels in Las Vegas and D.C. The committee's ranking member, Congressman Jamie Raskin, writing in the report, quote, by elevating his personal financial interests and the policy priorities of corrupt foreign powers over the American public interests, former President Trump violated both the clear commands of the Constitution and the careful precedents set by and observed by every previous commander-in-chief. Raskin makes sure to point out this is just a small glimpse of the dealings of the ex-president and his company. Democrats only received information on 4 of Trump's businesses out of more than 500 that he has had. The report says it is true that $7.8 million is almost certainly only a fraction of Trump's harvest of unlawful foreign state money. But this figure itself is a scandal and a decisive spur to action. And adds, critically, even this subset of documents reveals a stunning web of millions of dollars in payments made by foreign governments and their agents directly to Trump-owned businesses while President Trump was in the White House. These payments were made while these governments were promoting specific foreign policy goals with the Trump administration, and even at times with President Trump himself. And as they were requesting specific actions from the United States to advance their own national policy objectives. Representative Crockett, walk us through the findings.
Yeah, so what I want the American people first to understand is that this isn't a knee-jerk reaction to the sham impeachment inquiry that we're dealing with. This is something that started 7 years ago, and Elijah Cummings actually was the ranking member, and he's the one that started this because he did have concerns because any other president would divest themselves of their interests, but Trump refused to do so. All right, so we started 7 years ago, and I know people are saying, well, why are we just now talking about it now? Well, Trump, like Trump likes to do, has fought this in court for years and years and years. It wasn't until September of 22 that he entered into a settlement agreement. And in that settlement agreement, his accounting firm was supposed to hand over documentation. So from September until basically January, we were starting to get some documents, and those few documents revealed the information that you just gave. And these are all conservative estimates. The problem that we have is that in January of 2023, Comer swore in as the chair of the committee, and Comer said, there's no need to comply anymore. Let's dismiss this all, obstructing our ability to know just how deep it went with Trump. And of that figure that you've given, I can tell you that almost $6 million of that money specifically was money from China.
Yeah. Talk to me about the China piece of it.
So when we start talking about China, think about where we are in this country right now. We've got a sitting U.S. president that is trying to get a package through that will help our friends in the Middle East, those struggling in Gaza, as well as Israel. He's also talking about money that needs to go to the Ukrainians, as well as money to Taiwan. So when we think about it, what is the money for Taiwan for? It's because China has made it clear that they actually want to go into Taiwan and invade them. We also don't know about the money as it relates to Russia. That's information that we didn't get. We know that he has businesses in Russia, but we didn't get the information about the money. So when we're getting the obstruction from the Republicans, not wanting to help the Ukrainians, not wanting to help the Taiwanese, we have to wonder if they are getting their signal from Trump, and Trump is giving the signal because of all of the money that he's gotten, not to mention the overlap as it relates to various trademarks. It became clear that there's disclosures that Trump did not give when he was sitting in the Oval Office that he's now giving now that he's running in 23. We just now learned that while he was in office, he received trademarks from the Chinese government at the same time that they're somehow checking into his hotels and things like that. And to be clear also for the American people, it's not a strict prohibition. The prohibition says, yeah, you can't just do it. But if you are going to try to do it, you at least have to come to Congress and let Congress make the ultimate decision. He chose not to do that. So there was another option. And the fact that he decided not to makes it only look like more shady Trump business.
Well,
Now, think about this, folks. This should be big news, right? You would think that instead of concentrating on whether Biden is too old, on whether Hunter Biden pictures are worth seeing, or whether Hunter Biden's money somehow ended up in the hands of the president of the United States for which you don't have any evidence. Hey, you have all the evidence in your hands that Donald Trump was on the take from several other countries, right? Not only that, what's the probability that an experienced guy like President Trump's son-in-law, who has no experience of doing anything competent, would get control of $2 billion from the Saudis? Do you think there is something there? Do you think there is something owed? I wonder. Folks, we got to be serious. And we understand that the 33% devoted Trump is devoted MAGA, that their minds are not functioning well. We can understand that they will likely stick with Donald Trump again. But if you're of sane mind, if you care about your country, how can you possibly stick with this insurrectionist? How could you possibly stick with this evil person? How could you possibly stick with somebody whose intent is not to build up America, but to destroy America, not specifically, but in such a form that it enriches himself?
We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead. Number one, subscribe to our channel. And number two, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.